Hey frag heads and fragrance lovers, welcome back. It's Benjamin here at the Sit to Dark Fragrance channel, coming back at you with more fragrances. Y'all know what we do. We're fragrance lovers, enthusiasts. Let's talk about another one. And we got Abysse on our hands from Noeme Paris. This is an upcoming niche brand. They're going to release soon in the USA, and I'm very excited to be able to bring this one to you. Very interesting fragrances and very well composed. I think that these can put a serious fight up with, with the likes of Creed, and the quality's nice. You definitely gotta check them out. So first off, this sample was sent to me for review, so take this with a grain of salt if you'd like. But I'm definitely gonna give this one a high rating. This is one of my favorites with Kalahari. This is definitely up there as one of my favorites from the brand. So first off, you're getting a really interesting fragrance. When you think of Abysse, it means like an endless dark, or something like a complete dark, so like a situation where you can't see your hand in front of your face. It's so dark outside. When I think of also Abysse, I think of something cold, and maybe I think of the extremely dark ocean, the depths and the dark deep of the ocean. So this fragrance is very interesting in that it does capture a little bit of that cold, dense kind of feel with this fragrance. It does honestly have a little bit of an aquatic note or an aquatic quality, but this fragrance also is a little interesting in that it's floral in a deep kind of floral way, and there's also this light, fresh woodiness that comes through with this fragrance also. I detect the little bit of nutmeg adding to the little bit of spice, and adding a little bit of character to this in the opening, maybe freshening it up a little bit and adding a little bit to the woodiness and a little bit of that nuttiness. In the dry down, I do detect cedar. This is a very interesting cedar. This is hawthorn cedar. I am not very familiar with hawthorn cedar in particular, but I found it very interesting, and I quite like it. I'd like to see a little bit more of hawthorn cedar and see what it's going about. There's timber silk, which adds a very smooth woodiness, almost like an aroma chemical type of quality, and it's also described as being a little bit salty. There's Davana, which is a very interesting, kind of like that deep floral quality I was telling you about, and it's used in a very interesting way, very artistically in this fragrance, so that at times this fragrance smells a little bit floral to me, at times this fragrance smells a little bit woody, and at times this fragrance smells a little bit like a deep, dark aquatic. And no aquatic notes are particularly listed in this fragrance, and they don't really try to make this fragrance sound like an aquatic, but to my nose, there is a little bit of that going on in this fragrance, but that could be just my personal bias or just me coming through with what I see and smell in the fragrance. But it's an interesting one. It's very well done. If you like dark blue fragrances, there's not a lot of them out there. Astral Blue by Issey Miyake was one of the only ones out there. And this also is one of the only deep dark blue fragrances that really captures that kind of feel. And when I say deep dark blue, there are shampoo blue fragrances out there, but this captures a deep dark aquatic kind of nature. Not really that shampoo vibe going on here. So with the performance, honestly, I get more of 7 hours or so. I was wanting it to last a lot longer. I was expecting maybe a musk to come through or something like that. Honestly, it's more of like a 6 or 7 hour fragrance. The projection is on the softer side of things, and the sillage is just average. So this is definitely more of, in my experience, a little bit more of a delicate fragrance, but the smell is unique. The smell is a little bit more different, so people, when they do detect it or come across it, it does smell a little bit unique, but it doesn't smell extremely unique. It doesn't smell extremely strange. It might be a little bit familiar with some people, but again, I think that's a wonderful thing when somebody kind of recognizes a fragrance DNA, but there's definitely something different about it, something special, and this definitely is a lot higher quality than a lot of designer fragrances. But if I was to recommend, maybe for a young guy, maybe he had some money, and he was looking for a fragrance that, could be very versatile and interesting. Honestly, I probably would recommend Elysium by Roja if you had some money to spend. But this also could definitely be one of those fragrances if he's a little bit more reserved, a little bit more of a soft-spoken guy, and maybe a little bit more of a seductive charmer. I do think that this would definitely work for, any man out there. So that's really my opinions on the compliment factor. I went out, I wore this fragrance. Not a lot of people outwardly smelled it because it doesn't really try to project and to grab people's attention. But when people got close to me and smelt it on me, I think that they found that it was interesting. I think that they, it definitely spoke, with me and boosted my appeal in a good way. It's not overtly sexy. It's not sweet. It's not overtly mass appealing, but it certainly attempts to be for a niche fragrance. It kind of gets there around that kind, around that fragrance. So, or around that kind of tone with the fragrance. So, my final thoughts with these fragrances, they're about a little over $200 for 100 mils. As far as the niche world of fragrances, I think that they're quite good. I think that they're nice. I do have a big soft spot for Serge Lutens and Carnar Barcelona. To me, they're kind of the gold standard of what niche can be for a fair price. I think that if you're looking, again, for an aquatic in the niche world, this is one of the better ones, or one of the best out there. But it is going to be a little bit more on the soft side of things. And I do wish that maybe this one had better projection and maybe was a little bit more concentrated. But anyways, it's a nice creation. And I think that there's a lot of interesting notes going on in this fragrance. I do think that maybe in the opening, I think an interesting spark with this fragrance would be maybe something of a dark, maybe like a dark coconut off the top. Maybe give us something like that. I think that would be interesting. Anyways, interesting fragrance. Well done, Noeme Paris. I think that this is a pretty good fragrance. Let me know, have you tried out this brand? Have you heard about them? Have you tried them? This is definitely going to be a little bit more for city or metro kind of people going out and about, where you're more in a crowd of people. If you want your beast mode, if you want your 8 hours, big body fragrance, this is definitely might not be for you, especially for the price. So I'll see you next time, my friends. I hope that you enjoyed my review. Let me know, have you looked at this fragrance? Have you heard about it? I'll include their website down below if you want to look at these interesting notes. This stuff has got some interesting little notes going on, and check out this brand. Anyways, I'll see you next time, my friends. Wear what you love, rock what you got, and have a good one. I'll see you next time, and bye.